What up, y'all? Happy Sunday, Easter Sunday, April 5th. It's Try's World. I'm gonna try to keep it short. Was in the Bay yesterday, last night, watching an ISO concert, raves concert slash thing, and it was really good. I thought he did a good job, and he has a very rabid young fan base. And this girl next to me they were singing all his lyrics, all his production beats. They know all the cues and everything. It's like they're like his mini DJs, So I thought it was great. The energy was incredible. It just sucks that people were trying to climb walls and do all that stuff. I was thinking about it for a second because there was room when I was there because it was still relatively early. People earlier in the night got wristbands, and the folks who wanted to be on the floor should have went earlier. It became kind of a mess. People jumping the walls and getting injured over it, and a lot of people not in the right mindset in terms of under the influence, some of them probably. And obviously as an older, I guess you can call it, raver or whatever you want to call it, as soon as I saw the police show up, it was like because they were breaching every single wall, and it was like even the walkways starting to get breached. That's when the police officers had to go on our side. There was a sort of a left side and a right side. I was on the right side facing the stage, and the police officers, like 10 of them, I think they were working the front, and they came by and they just started yelling. And one, like the chief or the leader, was like, "I'm gonna kick all y'all out. I'm gonna kick every single one of y'all out if you don't stop right now." And he was yelling his head off. I remember there was this Asian police, this female Asian police officer, kind of looking at me for some reason. That was why I was there at the rails. I was thinking about jumping, but she kept looking at me, and I was like, I don't know. I was wondering why she kept looking at me, but it wasn't a mean or menacing look. It was just more like, I feel you, and we don't want to do this, but if you jump that wall, we're going to have to do what we have to do. So I got out of there quick, and I will say the younger guys, I got along with them. They remind me of my nieces and nephews and all that, so I really enjoyed their energy. Really high energy people, young people, young adults, I would say. This guy got on the PA and he was like, "These kids are getting hurt." There ain't no kids in there. They're adults and young adults, but to many they are still kids, so I did see some getting hurt. One guy jumped over, hurt himself, got trampled by a girl. A lot of guys got tackled. A lot of girls got tackled by allied security, I guess they were called. The local police officers were tackling people as well, and it's kind of like swimming in a school of fish. There's a minnow run, and you hope you're in the middle of it. And the faster you run towards the crowd, the better off you are. But there was this one guy, even in the crowd, ramming into people, trying to help security, and it's like, that's kind of not, I don't know. Crowd got kind of worked up, and people are starting to say not plur, and of course blaming the age and all this other stuff. But I enjoyed the energy. It's such high energy. I don't think I've seen such high energy and engagement from a EDM crowd as that one. For whatever reason, it's a really rabid crowd for ISO, and I imagine for Knock 2 as well. So they're both kind of friends from San Diego, both producers from San Diego, and so I wanted to see it because so much buzz behind him as an artist. And although I'm busy right now, if I ever get back into producing or DJing, which I may or may not, but I sometimes get inspired by things, and the performance was really good. And it's sad that it was overshadowed by the wall jumping, but I also thought there was plenty of room on the floor. Maybe from past events, they wanted to prevent some type of crush at the gate. I don't know, but it was. I made a lot of younger friends. I was supposed to meet up with people, but I'm driving it from Sacramento, so sometimes it's hard to coordinate. I drove back the same night, so it's not like I was, trying to go really, really heavy, with pre-parties and post-parties and all that. I just really wanted to see the performance and take some mental notes and be out, but such nice people overall. There's a lot of pushing, unfortunately, and non-gentlemanly like behavior. There was like girls at the rail, and the guys would like push the girls aside to get to the rail, which, I'm not a big fan of myself. I'd say overall I'm pretty respectful. There was this, even the I call them, even the young adults that were that were maybe causing a little bit of trouble at the beginning, they ended up being real nice people, and so like this one guy was kind of pointing at me and all this. I had my shirt off. It was so hot. And I always have my shirt off at raves now because it's so hot. I mean, I'm sweating through a tank top, it's that hot and the crowd is so dense. But one guy kept pointing at me and like, hey, who's this guy? And at the end of the night, he was like putting his arm on me and like trying to hang out. So I was like, that's interesting. But, as far as the music and the performance was concerned, he played, F the speakers up 3 times, and not once, not twice, but 3 times. So some people left after the first one. They really missed out because he continued to play great songs, and he played his signature song 2 more times. So we were treated. I mean, the people in the crowd went nuts every time that song came on, and I went nuts. Quite frankly. So it was really fun. And besides that, he had moments. I wanted to look at the whole set, and he was not only a good performer, he's a great DJ. There were times where I saw him mixing and doing all this stuff live, and I could tell he was mixing it and doing it live. And so he has skills as a DJ. He apparently provides some of his own vocals, whether it's singing or rapping on some of his songs. He auto-tunes everything, but he's talented, multi-talented sort of producer, EDM producer. So very impressed by his performance overall, and I think there's a reason why people are latching on and why other DJs are playing his songs, mixed into a variety of ways. But I keep hearing that over and over and over. Once other DJs start playing your stuff, I feel like that's a big sign of respect, especially established ones. And they'll play these out of these sort of kind of not well-known songs on ISO's discography, I guess. And I only find out after the fact that, that's ISO's song. And so I wanted to see what all the buzz was about. It wasn't just about the youth like picking up on this guy. I mean, part of it is, that he's one of their own. He's their age. And so, like I said, there's people that knew like every single lyric and everything. It was great. But there's a lot more to it. I think all his drops are so ridiculous. I think the big thing they do well is they've done so many. They have their own sound, but they do their like remixes in their own sound. And so it's a modern take on a lot of songs that and melodies that a lot of us have heard before. So I got to thinking about that, and I thought that was interesting. Especially starting off, you don't have to be original with everything. You can do, if it sounds good and you're able to repackage it to your interpretation of it, many times people can like that interpretation better. And I think that's what not only Knock 2, but also ISO has done successfully several times. And that's what Illenium said really kicked him off. It got him started too. He did a Cascade remix apparently and kind of blew up based off that remix. So, but no, it's not just remixes. They have their own songs, they have their own sound, and they've got a really, really rabid fan base. So glad I was able to see it and all that. So yeah, it was great. And obviously the drive back was no traffic. So as far as notes, just some fun things. And as far as what the market did, I guess it rallied up 0.5% overall for the week or something to that effect. But it did rally, hoping for a wind down in Iran, and it's not totally happening. 2 planes were shot down this past weekend. So we'll see what happens. It just seems to continue to escalate, and it doesn't seem like there's going to be a very quick solution to it. So as much as we want to hope for one. Other than that, I just got a few random things. Michael Jordan keeps saying there's no such thing as a GOAT, and I have to disagree, because I think in every era there's a really, really dominant player in that era. Jordan was extremely dominant. He's one of those guys that when you expected him to deliver, he would. And there's very few athletes like that nowadays. So I really feel like he was much more dominant in his era than most any other player, as far as MVPs, finals MVPs, championships, just being the man, that guy for that Chicago Bulls team for as long as he did, and as dominant as he was. There's people who have won more championships, but they didn't play as big of a role as he did. I mean, I don't know if I disagree. I don't know if I agree with Jordan on that. I have here a question on Bloomberg. It was asked, what do you do as an investor? One of the co-anchors or something asked that of the other co-anchor, and then the response was, let's see what other investors are doing. So they tuned into what the markets were doing to try to explain what investors should do, and that's just a common mistake, and it's not the way folks should think about the market. taking cues from the market as learning, as an instructive thing. So I thought that was interesting. But it's a common mistake even amongst finance professionals, so I'm not surprised by that. And then a lot of people going into rehab. Puka Nakua, this was on April 2nd. Puka Nakua, Tiger Woods. I'm just seeing it as kind of a joke now. As soon as something bad happens, all they need to say is on rehab. And it's, I wish it was that easy for regular people to do. There must be must be some common knowledge from their PR agents. You flipped a car, go to do rehab, check into rehab. Oh, you said some terrible things while you were drunk and bit somebody. Okay, go to rehab. So I hope it helps them, but it just seems like it's such a go-to response that it's almost become a joke. So just my view on that. And then Nate, I got a note that Nate Diaz says jiu-jitsu is like swimming. Everybody, needs to learn it. And I think it's important to have self-defense. I don't know if you necessarily need jiu-jitsu or whatnot, but I think it could be helpful, and you just never know when you'll be in trouble. But he said, and it's like swimming, and I don't know if I agree that it's like a core skill necessarily, but if you come from where he came from, it very well might be. And so that's just his mentality. And I just think it's interesting. Everybody kind of has their own bias and viewpoint on the world, and that's how Nate sees the world. That's how Jordan sees the world. And then I got another sort of last note here. Tom Lee was saying "were" is stimulative on CNBC. Yeah, I think it depends on the type of war. Obviously in war you're usually building tanks, your factories go into overdrive. That's what happened in world wars in the past. Car factories are all of a sudden reconditioned to really pump out tanks and whatever else it is. And so, yeah, it could be stimulative, but to certain countries. But I think it's a type of war. Wars can be just a great way to rack up deficits as well. You can call the Iraq situation a war on terrorism. The conflict has, I think, really strained resources. I don't know how the economy performed during the Vietnam War, but if it's just this long drawn out conflict that's just we're just spending tons and tons of money chasing after an ideology, trying to eliminate an ideology, I think it could be a money drain. So that's what people are sort of criticizing some wars as now. So I know wars in the past could be stimulative, but I don't know if that's the case in every case. I'd be interested to see. But other than that, I don't have much. I'm going to end it a little early. I don't have too much. Keep it short and sweet and get back to some errands and things of that nature. But yeah, it is sort of a personal tax season as well, so busy on that front. And then, like I said, keep an eye out for markets. I've kind of said it in weekly updates before, and you're welcome to check those out. And I don't know if I'll do this every week. I say weekly, but I don't know if I'll do this every week. It really just depends on what I got going. But since I named it weekly, I wanted to provide weekly for now, but just to let folks know it might not be every week. It could be bi-weekly. It could be every month. Just depends on what I got going on, but I don't think I'm going to be posting more than once a week. I guess that's the best way to say it. Not much here other than that. Hope everybody had a great weekend and has a great upcoming week and productive and healthy week and all that. I guess there was a earthquake in San Jose recently. But other than that, hope everybody's keeping safe and sane and healthy. Thanks, y'all.